Imagine yourself in Victorian England. The year is 1860. The air is thick with the heavy scent of rosewater and the sounds of rustling petticoats, faintly underscored by the ever-present hum of society's judgment. You wake in a room where the curtains are thick, blocking the faintest hints of daylight. The cold wood beneath your bare feet sends a chill through your body as you rise from the warm confines of your bed, wrapped in layers of cotton nightgown. The heat of a fireplace is but a distant memory, as central heating is a luxury that hasn't yet found its way into the homes of women like you. You are 18, considered a woman on the cusp of your future, and today, like every day before it, will be an exercise in adherence to unspoken rules. Your mother stands at the door, her face a picture of seriousness, reminding you that today is the beginning of a new chapter of the season. But don't think of it as a time for frivolousness, a season for fun or exploration. No, this is the time to secure your place in the social fabric of Victorian society, a time when your every move will be scrutinized, your reputation carefully managed. Welcome to the world of a Victorian wife. Here, in this rigidly structured world, the idea of love is far from the romanticized notions we know today. In fact, you will quickly learn that love, if it comes at all, has little to do with the carefully choreographed steps of courtship, the cold letters exchanged in parlor rooms, and the ever-watchful eyes of chaperones. Instead, marriage in the Victorian world is a transaction, a business deal in which you, a young woman, are the prize to be bartered. It is a world where every glance you exchange with a man is a calculated risk, where every word spoken, every letter written, and every gesture made is scrutinized, measured, and recorded in the minds of those around you. Even the innocent flutter of a fan can speak volumes about your feelings, as it becomes your primary form of communication. The rules of courtship are complicated, and the consequences of stepping out of line can be devastating. Reputation, in the world you live in, is everything. A single misstep could ruin you, your name, your family's honor, your entire future. And so, your existence becomes an exercise in constant performance. Every action, every word, is performed under the watchful eyes of society, ensuring that you remain, at all times, a respectable lady. As you prepare for the day, dressed in layers of restrictive clothing that will make you feel as though you're bound by invisible chains, you are reminded of the role you must play. The dutiful daughter, the dutiful wife, the dutiful woman. You wear not just your dress, but an invisible set of rules that govern your every interaction. Every movement is calculated, every gesture carefully orchestrated. Your fan, that simple accessory, becomes your secret weapon in this game of courtship. Through the subtle opening and closing of your fan, you communicate feelings that are forbidden to express aloud, a silent rebellion against the constraints placed upon you. But it's not all about rules and regulations. There is a delicate balance between performing the expected and navigating the subtle dance of emotions that society refuses to acknowledge. Your heart, if you dare to feel it, longs for something more. Yet, in a world where your choices are few and far between, you must learn to adapt. The life of a Victorian wife is one of survival, a constant negotiation between obedience and agency, between duty and desire. The world outside your family home is a maze of opportunity, yet it is also a place where you are constantly reminded of your status. The streets are filled with the noise of society, the buzz of gossip, the clink of coins, and the rustle of expensive fabrics. You are expected to maintain a sense of calm, of grace, in a world where your every move is observed and your every action has consequences. And so we begin this journey into the heart of a Victorian wife's life, through the eyes of a young woman thrust into a world governed by rules, restrictions, and expectations. We will explore what it means to live under the shadow of societal demands. We will delve into the intricate world of courtship, marriage, and the constant dance of submission and survival. What does it mean to be a woman in a world where your existence is defined by the men around you? How do you navigate a world that demands your submission while still holding on to a sense of self? This is not just a story about love, marriage, and the Victorian era. It is a story about survival, about finding a way to live within the constraints of a world that seeks to define you in ways you never chose. It is about the women who learn to adapt, to survive, and to find meaning in the small acts of resistance that society never saw. It is about the stories of countless women who walked the same path, following the rules but finding ways to make them their own. It is a story about what it means to be truly free and what it costs to be so. So, take a deep breath, step into the world of Victorian England, and imagine that you are not just a spectator, but a participant in this complex, confining, yet strangely fascinating world. Welcome to the life of a Victorian wife. A life that is as much about survival as it is about the complex dance of power, love, and identity. You stand before the mirror, the heavy weight of your layers pulling at you in ways you never imagined. The stays beneath your gown hug your ribs tightly, pushing your posture into something more rigid and formal. At first, they felt like a suffocating contraption, but now they're simply a part of you, like an invisible hand that guides your every step. They are the armor of the Victorian woman, strong, supportive, but also restrictive in their own way. Your shoulders are drawn back, your waist cinched, and with every move you make, the sound of your petticoats rustling against each other reminds you of the expectations that surround you. The pale blue morning gown you wear is modest, but it fits perfectly, making you look delicate and porcelain-like. The wool drapes over your form like a second skin, soft and smooth, but it hides beneath it the cage you've been placed in. It is a beautiful facade, one that keeps you safe from the judgments of society, but at the cost of your freedom. Beneath it, your heart beats faster as you sense what is to come. Today marks the beginning of your season, the start of a journey that will define the rest of your life. Your mother's voice breaks through the quiet, reminding you to straighten your back, to smile, to look your best. Every detail matters, and she is the one guiding you through it. She is the one who knows what it takes to navigate these societal rules. She knows how to attract the right attention, how to avoid scandal, how to make sure you secure your future by finding the right match. She has already walked this path, and now it is your turn. Today, the world of courtship and marriage is not just a game of love. It is a game of status, of wealth, and of survival. The pressure weighs heavily on you, but you hide it behind the careful mask of propriety. There is no room for discomfort, for uncertainty, or for anything that might make you appear less than perfect. After all, perfection is the standard, and imperfection can ruin you. As you descend the stairs of your home, the sound of your footsteps muffled by the thick carpets beneath you, you are aware of every movement you make. The weight of society's expectations feels like an invisible hand, guiding your actions, shaping your thoughts. There is no room for freedom in these movements. Every gesture is an expression of your status, your family, your future. You are part of something bigger, something that extends beyond your own desires and dreams. It is your duty, and while you may long for more, you know deep down that your duty is everything. The parlor is quiet when you enter, save for the occasional murmur of voices from the servants in the kitchen and the distant ticking of the clock. Your father is in his study, preparing for another day of work, while your mother waits for you. There is a certain finality in the way she watches you now, as if this moment, this first step into the season, marks the point where there is no turning back. Once the season starts, everything changes. Your future will no longer be yours to shape. It will be in the hands of others, in the hands of potential suitors, in the hands of a world that will judge you for every move you make. As you prepare to leave the house, the realization strikes you with a sense of urgency. This season is not just a fleeting part of your life, it is your life. The men you meet, the conversations you have, the way you are perceived, all of it will determine your worth in society. It's not just about finding a man you love. It's about finding a man who can provide you with security, with status, with a life that will ensure you are never reduced to being an old maid, a burden on your family. This is the reality of your world. Survival hinges on the choices made during this short period, and the consequences of those choices will shape everything that follows. You walk out the door and into the carriage waiting outside. The horse's hooves click against the cobblestones as the carriage moves smoothly through the streets, taking you toward the first event of the season, a ball. Your mother is beside you, her face unreadable, but you sense her excitement behind the sternness of her expression. This is where you will be presented to society, where you will meet the men who might become a part of your future, and where you will learn the subtle art of courting without ever truly revealing your heart. The ball is held at the grand manor of one of the most prominent families in town. It is a symbol of the wealth and influence that you are striving to secure for yourself. The glittering chandeliers hang above, their soft light casting a warm glow over the polished wood floors where women in their finest gowns glide past, their fans fluttering gently in their hands. The music swells in the background, and for a moment you feel as though you've stepped into a dream, a place where everything is perfect and precise. But that dream is short-lived, for you are quickly reminded of the rules that govern this world. As soon as you enter the room, all eyes are on you. The women, with their sharp gazes and subtle smiles, assess you instantly. The men, too, are looking, their eyes appraising your figure, your manner, your beauty, your grace. You are not just a young woman at a ball, you are a commodity, something to be considered, weighed, and evaluated. You are being sized up for your worth, not just as a person, but as a potential wife. Your mother, ever watchful, moves you through the crowd. She introduces you to a few of the eligible men who might become your suitors, each one carefully chosen for his status, his wealth, his potential to improve your standing in society. They greet you politely, their words measured and their smiles controlled. Every interaction is steeped in layers of formality, politeness masking the underlying intentions. They are not asking you about your interests or your dreams. They are asking you to prove that you are worthy of being married to them. The first dance of the evening begins, and you are swept into a quadrille with a young man named Mr. Whitmore. His name is unfamiliar to you, but that does not matter. His reputation precedes him, a second son of a local landowner, well-mannered, wealthy, and with a future that looks promising in the eyes of your mother. As you glide through the dance, the gentle touch of his gloved hand on your waist is all that is allowed, the distance between you carefully maintained to preserve the propriety of the moment. The dance is not about intimacy. It is about propriety, about showing the world that you are a respectable young woman, ready for marriage. In that brief moment, the dance becomes a metaphor for the entire season. It is not about the connection between two people, not about the blossoming of love. It is about the delicate steps, the choreography that will ensure that no one steps out of line. Each movement is deliberate, each glance calculated. There is no room for mistakes, no room for anything that might disrupt the illusion of perfection. After the dance ends, you part ways with Mr. Whitmore, but you are left with a sense of unease. Despite the careful steps you've taken, despite the polished exterior you've created, there is a nagging feeling that something is missing. It is not love, that much is clear, but it is something deeper, something that connects you to the world in a way that this dance cannot. You leave the ballroom as the night wears on, the weight of the evening pressing on your shoulders. You wonder if this is all there is, if the entirety of your existence is to be defined by the dances, the rules, the restrictions. The reality of what lies ahead starts to settle in. Courtship, marriage, your future, it will all unfold according to the rules of this strict society, and your dreams, your desires, will be secondary. But even as you return home, the exhaustion of the evening lingering in your limbs, you cannot shake the thought that perhaps there is more to be discovered. Perhaps there is a way to navigate this world while still holding on to some semblance of yourself, your voice, your desires. In this world of rigid rules and endless expectations, is there space for the kind of love and freedom you long for? As the carriage rolls through the dark streets back to your home, you wonder if it's possible to carve out your own path in this carefully constructed world of Victorian England. The thought is fleeting, almost impossible, but it lingers. For a moment, you imagine a life where you are more than just a reflection of your society's expectations, a life where you are free to choose, to live, to love. But that life, is a distant dream. The reality of your world is something else entirely. Tomorrow, you will don your stays once more. You will attend more events, and you will continue the delicate dance of courtship. For now, that is all that matters. For now, you are the perfect Victorian lady, performing the roles that society expects, and yet perhaps somewhere deep inside, there is still a part of you that refuses to disappear completely. You close your eyes and drift off to sleep, knowing that the world you have stepped into has already begun to shape the woman you are becoming. The story has only just begun. As the days of the season unfold, you find yourself caught in a whirlpool of social obligations and expectations. The ballrooms, the dinner parties, the afternoon teas, each event is more than just a social gathering. It is a test, a performance, a demonstration of your worth as a future wife. The weight of it all begins to settle on your shoulders as you realize that these events are not merely about enjoying the company of others. They are your chance to prove that you are worthy of a good match, a suitable match, one that will secure your place in the world and offer you the safety and comfort you need. The men you meet are all carefully scrutinized, each one measured against a set of criteria that has little to do with love or affection. What matters is wealth, status, and the potential for upward mobility. Love, if it comes, must bloom under these conditions, carefully nurtured and tended to amidst the pressure to maintain appearances. It is a world where the heart has little room to speak its mind, where emotions must be silenced in favor of propriety and respectability. Mr. Whitmore continues to appear at the gatherings you attend, and with each encounter, you find yourself drawn to him in a way that both excites and unsettles you. He is charming, polite, and well-mannered, but there is something distant about him, something that keeps him at arm's length. You wonder if he is simply playing the game as well as you are, adhering to the rules of courtship with as much care and precision as the rest of you. The subtle art of conversation is where the real performance happens. It is not enough to simply talk to him. You must talk in a way that reveals your intelligence without making you seem intimidating. You must seem interesting without being opinionated, accomplished without being boastful. Your words must flow with ease, each sentence a delicate balance between revealing just enough of yourself and keeping enough hidden to maintain the mystery that makes you desirable. Miss Harrison, Mr. Whitmore says one afternoon, his voice warm yet guarded, as he takes your hand to lead you into a dance. I trust you are enjoying your season thus far? You smile and nod, but inside, your heart beats faster, the reality of this performance settling deeper in your chest. This is not a conversation between two people who truly know each other. It is a dance, just like the one you will perform on the floor. A series of steps and turns that have been rehearsed until they are second nature. Yes, Mr. Whitmore, you reply, keeping your tone light, your smile serene. The events have been quite illuminating. You carefully avoid mentioning your own internal conflict, your longing for something more than this delicate game. His eyes flicker with what might be understanding, or perhaps it is merely a reflection of the same weariness you feel beneath the surface of your polite demeanor. Indeed, it can be overwhelming at times, can't it? But it is a world we must navigate. No, you agree, but say nothing more. The weight of his words lingers in the air, and for a brief moment, you wonder if he, too, feels trapped in this world of pretenses, of careful movements and unspoken desires. But the moment passes as quickly as it came, and the conversation shifts to another topic, one that carries the same careful weight as all the others. The weather, the latest gossip, and the newest social developments. By the time the dance ends, you are left with nothing but a sense of emptiness. The dance, like the rest of the courtship process, is both beautiful and hollow. It is an illusion, a performance that leaves no room for authenticity. You are not allowed to be yourself. You are only allowed to be what others expect you to be. And the worst part is, you realize you are complicit in this deception. You, too, are playing the part, performing the role of the dutiful daughter, the perfect young woman who will make a good match. As the season continues, the pressure mounts. The whispers around you grow louder. Your mother is constantly reminding you of the importance of your actions, of your behavior, of your interactions with the suitors you meet. Every misstep, every inappropriate word could mean the difference between success and failure. There is no room for error. Your every gesture is examined, your every word dissected. You begin to feel like a puppet, each movement carefully controlled by invisible strings. It is not just the men who are watching you, no. The women are just as critical, if not more so. They watch you with keen eyes, measuring you against the standards of beauty, grace, and propriety that have been ingrained in them since birth. They are your competition, and they are also your judges. Every glance, every slight movement is scrutinized with a careful, practiced eye. You begin to feel the weight of their judgment, the constant reminder that your worth is tied not to your individuality, but to your conformity. Miss Harrison, you are looking quite radiant this evening, Mrs. Turner says one afternoon, her smile polite but not warm as she looks you up and down. You must be receiving quite a bit of attention, I should think. And the compliment, if it can be called that, leaves you feeling hollow. You smile and nod, but inside, the words gnaw at you. You know what she means. It's not really about your beauty or your accomplishments. It's about your suitability as a wife, your potential to make a good match. You are a prize to be won, not a person with your own hopes, your own desires. As the days pass, the pressure becomes unbearable. You are expected to be flawless, to embody the ideal of the perfect woman, gentle, demure, graceful, and above all, obedient. But you are beginning to feel a deep frustration a yearning for something more. You long for a life that is not defined by rules and expectations, a life where you can be free to choose, to act, to think for yourself. But that life, is a fantasy. It is a life that is not meant for women like you. Still, you cannot help but wonder what might happen if you were to defy the rules, if you were to cast off the mask of perfection and show the world who you truly are. But that would be dangerous. A woman who defies the rules risks everything: her reputation, her family's honor, her future. There is no room for rebellion in this world, no space for individuality. You are bound by the expectations of society, and you must play the role assigned to you. You attend another ball, another dinner party, another event where you are expected to shine in a sea of other young women, all vying for the same prize. The men are all polite, their compliments carefully crafted, their intentions as opaque as the layers of clothing you wear. But for the first time, you are not focused on them. You are focused on the women around you, their poised smiles, their graceful movements, their whispered conversations. The realization hits you with the force of a revelation. The real competition is not between you and the men. It is between you and the other women. The men may offer their attentions, but it is the women who determine your worth. They are the ones who decide if you are worthy of their respect, their approval, and ultimately their endorsement. Without their approval, you cannot secure a match. Your mind begins to race, your thoughts swirling as you try to make sense of it all. This world, this society, is not just about love or courtship. It is about power, about control, and about survival. You are caught in a system that values your obedience above all else, a system that demands you conform to its rules, its expectations. And yet, you cannot help but wonder if there is another way, if there is some way to escape, to break free from the chains that bind you. But how? How could you possibly escape a world that is so tightly wound, so intricately structured? How could you survive in a world where your every move is watched, your every action judged? As you dance once more, the music swells around you, but it is no longer the beautiful, captivating sound it once was. Now, it feels like the beat of a drum, a constant reminder of the rhythm you must follow. You are not free. You are not allowed to be who you are. You are, instead, a performer in a carefully orchestrated play, and the role you must play is one that has been assigned to you from the moment you were born. As you spin through the dance, your eyes meet those of Mr. Whitmore once again. This time, there is no spark, no warmth, no recognition of the deeper emotions you might wish to express. He is a player in the same game, just as trapped as you are in the web of societal expectations. And as you take another turn across the ballroom, the truth becomes clear. Love, if it comes, will be a rare and fleeting thing, something that is cultivated and carefully nurtured under the weight of so many rules. For now, all you can do is follow the steps, keep up the performance, and hope that someday, somehow, you will find a way to carve out a piece of freedom in a world that is determined to keep you confined. The days blur together in a haze of social engagements, obligations, and performances. You have entered the season with the hope of finding a match, one that is suitable, respectable, and most importantly, will ensure your future. But as the weeks unfold, the weight of your role as a Victorian young woman becomes heavier. The constant scrutiny of your every move, every gesture, every word it wears on you, leaving you feeling more like a figurehead than a person. You are beginning to question your place in this world, the role that has been assigned to you, and whether there is any space for yourself amidst the suffocating expectations. Your mother, ever watchful, continues to guide you through the maze of the season, her advice as carefully structured as the rules of courtship itself. She speaks to you in soft tones, her words always laced with the knowledge of what is expected of you. It's a world she knows well, one that values appearances above all else. Your worth is not defined by your character, your desires, or your intelligence, but by how well you fit within the rigid structures of society. You must be charming, my dear, your mother often says, adjusting your gown before another event. A woman's charm is her most powerful weapon. Use it wisely, and they will never see anything else. It is a simple yet profound piece of advice, and yet it feels so empty. You smile, nod, and do your best to comply. But inside, you feel the distance growing between who you are and who you are expected to be. The charm, the polite words, the carefully measured steps, it all becomes a performance, one that you are beginning to resent. The balls, the dinners, the luncheons, they have all begun to blend together into a repetitive cycle of formalities. Each man you meet is more or less the same, well-dressed, well-mannered, and only mildly interesting. The conversations are polite, devoid of true connection, as if everyone involved knows exactly what they are supposed to say and do. They ask about the latest novels you've read or the performances you've attended, but the questions are only meant to gauge your intellect, your ability to converse, and your suitability as a wife. There is no room for the exchange of real thoughts, real feelings. They do not ask what you love, what you dream of, or what you long for. They ask only what they need to know to determine whether you are a good match for their lives, their estates, their families. And so, you move from one engagement to the next, always performing, always playing your part. At times, you catch glimpses of the person you used to be, the girl who dreamed of freedom, of adventure, of a life filled with possibilities. But those dreams feel so distant now, as if they belong to someone else, someone who never existed. It is at one of these endless soirees that you meet him again, Mr. Charles Whitmore. You have encountered him several times already, but each meeting has been nothing more than a polite exchange of pleasantries. At first, you thought little of him, just another suitor, another man in the crowd of eligible bachelors. But tonight, as he steps into the room, something shifts within you. He is not like the others. There is a quiet confidence about him, an air of intelligence and depth that you have not seen in the others. His gaze lingers on you for just a moment longer than is considered polite, and in that brief instant, you feel a spark, a connection, however fleeting, that you cannot ignore. You try to push the feeling aside, reminding yourself that courtship is a business transaction, not a matter of the heart. But it is difficult to ignore the way his eyes follow you as you move across the room, the way his smile seems to hold a deeper meaning. Perhaps it is just your imagination, but you cannot help the flutter in your chest as you make your way toward him. "Miss Harrison," he says with a slight bow, his voice smooth and confident, "it is a pleasure to see you again." You smile politely, feeling a little self-conscious under his gaze. "Mr. Whitmore, the pleasure is mine." End quote. The conversation begins as they all do, with pleasantries and small talk. He asks about your family, about your interests, about the latest gossip in town. But this time, the exchange feels different. There is an ease to it, a rhythm that feels more natural than the forced conversations you've had with the other men. You find yourself opening up to him in ways you didn't expect, speaking more freely than you have with anyone else. For the first time in a long while, you feel like you are being seen, not as a commodity or a prize to be won, but as a person, a woman with thoughts, feelings, and desires. As the evening progresses, You notice that he makes an effort to speak with you whenever the opportunity arises. He asks about your thoughts on the books you've read, your opinions on the latest political debates, your feelings about the role of women in society. His questions are genuine, his interest sincere. It is a stark contrast to the others, who have often seemed more concerned with how you look than with what you think. But as much as you want to believe that Mr. Whitmore might be different, you know the reality of your situation. He is still a suitor, still someone who is evaluating your worth not just as a person, but as a potential wife. You cannot afford to become too attached to him, to let your feelings get in the way of the game you are playing. This is not about love. This is about survival. Still, as the night wears on and the guests continue their dance, you find yourself looking for him across the room, wondering what he might think of you. You catch his eye once more, and this time the look he gives you is different. It is not just polite. It is full of unspoken meaning. A slow smile tugs at his lips, and for a moment, the weight of the season, the weight of society's expectations, seems to lift. But the moment passes as quickly as it came, and soon you are once again swept into the whirlwind of conversation, of introductions, of dances. You try to focus on the present, but the thoughts of Mr. Whitmore linger in your mind, like a secret that you are not sure whether to keep or to share. In the days that follow, Mr. Whitmore's presence at the social gatherings becomes more noticeable. He seeks you out at every event, and each time you meet, there is a quiet, unspoken connection between you that seems to grow stronger with each passing day. It is not love, not yet at least, but it is something that feels real amidst the facades and the performances. Your mother notices it too. She is sharp, always watching, always aware of every detail, every nuance. One afternoon, as you prepare for another social engagement, she pulls you aside and speaks to you in hushed tones. "You must be careful, my dear," she says, her voice laced with concern. "Mr. Whitmore is an eligible bachelor, but you must not allow yourself to become too attached to him. A woman cannot afford to show her emotions too freely. That is how you lose your advantage." You nod, but deep down, you feel a pang of unease. What if Mr. Whitmore is different? What if he is the one man who might see you for who you truly are, rather than the role you are forced to play? But your mother's warning is a reminder of the reality of your world. A woman must always maintain control, must always play the game. She cannot afford to reveal too much of herself, cannot afford to appear vulnerable. She must be perfect, always poised, always composed, always in control. And yet, despite this, you wonder if there is room for something more, something that cannot be controlled, something that cannot be measured or quantified. It is the beginning of a dangerous path, one that will lead you further into the intricacies of Victorian courtship and deeper into the heart of your own desires. The path between duty and desire, between social expectation and personal yearning, is a narrow one, and it is a path that, once taken, may not be so easy to turn back from. For now, though, you return to your role, your mask of grace and poise. You continue to dance the delicate dance of courtship, always aware of the rules, always aware of the stakes. But deep inside, the seed of something more has been planted, and you cannot help but wonder where it will lead. As the weeks pass, the weight of your mother's advice grows heavier. You continue to see Mr. Whitmore at every event, his presence becoming more familiar, more expected. The connection between you, subtle at first, begins to deepen in ways you are both drawn to and wary of. His gaze, once polite and distant, now lingers a moment longer. His words, once measured and formal, now carry a certain warmth that you can't quite ignore. But despite these small signals, you know better than to entertain the idea of love. This is not the world where such things are allowed to blossom freely. This is the world where marriages are made of alliances, not affection. Your mind returns time and again to the reality of what courtship in Victorian England truly is: a business arrangement, a contract, a transaction. Love, if it even finds its way into the equation, is a distant afterthought, something that may or may not develop as time goes on. But marriage is what matters. Marriage is the culmination of everything you've been working for, the prize at the end of the season that secures your future and ensures your place in society. You have spent your life learning the rules, perfecting the art of being seen without being heard, of being beautiful without being bold, of being desirable without being too obvious. You know how to look, how to smile, how to speak, but none of it is for yourself. It is all for others. It is all about securing a future that ensures you are never left destitute or alone. You cannot afford to think of what you want, of what you feel. There is no room for those thoughts, not in this world. And yet, with every passing day, the seed of doubt continues to grow within you. What if Mr. Whitmore is different? What if he, too, longs for something more than a marriage of convenience? The thought is dangerous, and you quickly shove it away, reminding yourself that you cannot afford to entertain such fantasies. After all, what is love compared to the security that a good marriage brings? But your interactions with him, the quiet moments you share, the unspoken understanding between you, it's starting to feel like more than just courtship. It feels like something real, something that cannot be controlled by the rules of society. And yet, you know better than to let it consume you. This is the path you must follow, and you must remain focused. This is not about you or your desires. It is about fulfilling your duty, securing your family's future, and becoming the perfect Victorian wife. One evening, as the season winds down, you find yourself alone with Mr. Whitmore in the gardens of your family estate. The night air is crisp, and the soft rustle of the leaves in the trees above is the only sound that fills the silence between you. The moonlight spills through the branches, casting a pale glow over the stone path. It is a peaceful moment, and yet, beneath the calm exterior, there is an undeniable tension between you. You can feel it in the air, thick and heavy, like the moment before a storm. I must confess, Mr. Whitmore begins, his voice low and sincere. I've come to enjoy our time together more than I expected. You glance at him, surprised by the honesty in his tone. It is not something you are used to hearing in these formal exchanges, where every word is calculated, every sentiment carefully measured. But here, in the quiet of the garden, his words seem to hold more weight, more meaning. Enjoy, you reply, keeping your tone light, even though your heart beats faster. We've only had a few conversations, Mr. Whitmore. Surely, there is little to enjoy. He chuckles softly, the sound warm in the night air. I meant more than just our conversations, Miss Harrison. I meant the time we've spent together, the dance, the talks, the way you see the world. I find it refreshing. I find you refreshing. You feel a blush rise to your cheeks, and for the first time in weeks, you wonder if he is truly speaking his mind or if he is simply playing his part, following the rules of courtship as expected. You want to believe him, want to believe that this connection is real, but deep down, you know it cannot be. The world you live in is one of duty, not passion. And in a world like this, passion cannot survive. I'm flattered, Mr. Whitmore, you say, your voice carefully composed, but we both know the purpose of these meetings. We both know what this season is about. It is not about friendship or enjoying each other's company. It is about finding a match. Ah, his eyes flicker with something unreadable. For a moment, you wonder if he is disappointed by your words. But then he smiles. A slow, measured smile that does not quite reach his eyes. Of course. You're right, Miss Harrison. It is about securing our futures. But that does not mean we cannot enjoy the moments we have, does it? You look at him, the question hanging in the air, and for a brief moment, you wonder if there is something more beneath his words. But then the moment passes, and the weight of the season settles back around you. You are reminded once again that this is not about you or your desires. This is about survival. The next few days pass in a blur of final events. The season is coming to a close, and with it, the pressure to secure a match grows more intense. Your mother continues to steer you toward potential suitors, all of them wealthy and well-positioned, all of them looking for a woman who will be a worthy addition to their families. Mr. Whitmore, though charming and polite, has not made his intentions clear. You begin to wonder if he has lost interest, or if he simply does not see you as the match he seeks. But despite your best efforts to remain detached, you find your thoughts returning to him, to the moments you have shared in secret, to the brief connections you have made in the quiet corners of social gatherings. He is a puzzle you cannot quite solve, a mystery that lingers in your mind even as you try to focus on the reality of your situation. The final ball of the season arrives, and with it, the moment of truth. Your mother has made it clear that tonight will be the night when suitors will make their intentions known. This is the moment when the future will be decided, when you will finally know where you stand. As you prepare for the evening, the pressure weighs heavily on you. Tonight, you must be perfect, poised, graceful. Tonight, you must secure your future. You arrive at the ball, and the grandeur of it overwhelms you. The chandeliers glitter above, casting a golden glow over the sea of faces below. The music swells, and the guests move in time with it, each of them performing their roles with the precision of dancers who know their place. But amidst the elegant chaos, you search for him, Mr. Whitmore. When your eyes finally land on him, he is standing across the room, speaking with another woman. The sight of him causes your heart to clench, and for a moment, you wonder if you have made a mistake, if you have allowed yourself to believe in something that was never meant to be. As the evening progresses, you find yourself drawn to him again, as if the invisible thread between you tugs you toward him. He sees you before you see him, and when his eyes meet yours, the world seems to stop for just a moment. His expression is unreadable, and you can't tell if he is pleased to see you or simply going through the motions. But you move toward him anyway, knowing that this is the moment that will define your future. Miss Harrison, he says when you reach him, his voice soft but steady. May I have this dance? You nod, your throat suddenly dry, and allow him to lead you onto the floor. As the music begins, you find yourself lost in the rhythm, the quiet tension between you building with every step. For a moment, you forget about the rules, about the expectations. For a moment, it is just the two of you, moving in time with the music. But reality soon intrudes, and the weight of your duty returns. This dance, like all the others, is not about connection. It is about proving your worth, proving that you are ready to be chosen. And as the song comes to an end, you are left with the unmistakable feeling that the moment has passed, that the opportunity you thought might have existed is now slipping away. You exchange a few polite words, and then, as if by mutual agreement, you both move on. The night continues, and you find yourself surrounded by other suitors, other men who are equally polite, equally distant. Your heart feels heavier than ever, the weight of your future pressing down on you. But deep inside, there is a part of you that wonders if there is still a chance for something more, something beyond the carefully constructed world of courtship. Perhaps, just perhaps, you are not alone in your longing. As the evening draws to a close, and you prepare to return home, you cannot help but feel that the season has come to an end, with more questions than answers. What will your future hold? What kind of life will you lead? And will you ever find a way to be more than just a pawn in the game of marriage? Only time will tell. The weeks after the final ball of the season pass in a haze of expectations, unanswered questions, and quiet, fleeting moments of doubt. You cannot escape the weight of your mother's words, her careful guidance echoing in your mind as she steers you toward the men she deems suitable, those whose families are established, whose wealth ensures a secure future. Each interaction with them is as scripted as the dances you've learned so well. Polite, polite, polite. There are no real conversations, no true connections. These men do not see you as a person. They see you as a prize, a means to an end. They seek not your heart, but your dowry and your social standing. You are not just Miss Harrison. You are the key to their continued place in society, and you must play the part of the perfect Victorian woman to secure their approval. But despite your best efforts to play the part, despite the careful smile you wear and the calmness you project, a nagging feeling has begun to grow inside you. It started as a whisper, an uncomfortable thought that flitted at the edges of your consciousness. But now it is a roar, louder and more insistent with each passing day. You are no longer certain that you can simply go through the motions of courtship and marriage without questioning your role in it all. Every event, every conversation, every glance from another suitor feels more empty than the last. You are tired of being a reflection of others' desires. You are tired of feeling like a piece in a game, a pawn whose worth is determined by the wealth of the man who claims her. And then, just as you begin to feel completely disillusioned by it all, he appears again, Mr. Whitmore. It happens one afternoon, a few weeks after the season has ended. You are in the garden, sitting by the rose bushes that line the pathway, quietly observing the birds flitting between the flowers. The day is warm, and the sunlight dapples through the leaves, casting shadows on the ground. You sit there, alone with your thoughts, when you hear the sound of footsteps behind you. Before you can turn, a familiar voice calls your name. Miss Harrison. You start, a little startled, but then you turn to see Mr. Whitmore standing at the edge of the garden, his expression unreadable but calm. His presence immediately brings a flutter to your chest, a mix of excitement and apprehension. You've spent so many days wondering about him, about the connection between you, and now here he is, unexpectedly, intruding upon the quiet solace you've sought. Mr. Whitmore, you reply, standing as he approaches. I wasn't expecting you. Forgive me for startling you, he says, his voice warm and low. I was passing by and thought I might find you here. If you have a moment, I would very much like to speak with you. You hesitate, your mind racing with questions, but your heart seems to lead you rather than your head. Of course, I always have time for a friend, you say, smiling faintly as you gesture to the bench beside you. You sit again, and he follows suit, maintaining a respectful distance but close enough that you can hear the quiet, steady beat of his voice as he speaks. I've been thinking, he begins, his tone serious now, about everything that has happened over the past few weeks, the season, the courtship, and I've come to a rather difficult conclusion. Your heart skips a beat, and you wonder if he has come to the same conclusion that you have, that perhaps this whole charade, this game of courtship, is not enough for either of you. You dare not ask him directly, but you find yourself holding your breath, waiting for him to continue. "I've seen you, Miss Harrison," he says, his gaze steady and sincere, "and I've admired you in a way I'm afraid I cannot simply dismiss. You are everything I seek in a woman, not just for your beauty or your family's wealth, but for your mind, your strength, your quiet rebellion against the limitations placed upon you by society." His words stir something deep within you, something you cannot easily define. Could it be possible that he sees you as more than just a match to be secured? Could it be that he, too, longs for something beyond the rigid boundaries of Victorian courtship? You can barely bring yourself to speak, afraid that if you utter the wrong words, the fragile thread of connection between you might snap. "But you do not have to say anything," he continues, his voice gaining strength as he speaks. "I don't want a marriage defined by money and status. I want something real, something that speaks to the heart, not just a contract between families. I want a partner, not just a wife." Your heart races now, and your thoughts swirl. The words he speaks are like music to your ears, a melody that has been playing in the background of your heart for so long, but you never thought it would be possible to hear aloud. Could it be true? Could he truly want more than what society dictates? "But," he continues, his voice dropping to a whisper, "I fear that this world, the one we live in, does not allow for such things. We are bound by the expectations placed upon us, bound by duty to our families and to the social order, and I cannot ask you to risk your place in society for a chance at something that may never be allowed to bloom." You stare at him, at a loss for words. The truth of what he says stabs at you. You have known deep down that any love, any connection, would always be secondary to the business of marriage. You have been raised to see it as such, to accept it, to be grateful for it. But here is Mr. Whitmore, speaking of something more, something that terrifies you, but also fills you with a strange sense of hope. "I know that I cannot ask you to choose between the world and me," he says quietly, "but I wanted you to know, Miss Harrison, that if you ever wish to be free of these constraints, you need not do it alone. I would stand by you." His words hang in the air between you, and for a long moment, you are silent, your mind a whirl of conflicting emotions. What is this? What is he offering you? Is it real, or is it simply another illusion, another empty promise from a world that does not allow for such thing? You falter, your voice caught in your throat. You do not know what to say, how to respond. This is not how courtship is supposed to go. You are not supposed to be offered freedom. You are not supposed to be given a choice. You are supposed to be chosen, and your worth is determined by that choice. But what if his offer is real? What if, in this one instance, there is a chance for something more? But the fear is overwhelming. The consequences of defying society's expectations, of rejecting the path set before you, are terrifying. You have been taught that you must marry well, marry wisely, marry for security. You have been taught that your future depends on this decision. Could you throw it all away? Could you defy everything you have known, everything you have been taught? "I cannot ask you to make a decision now," Mr. Whitmore says softly, sensing your hesitation. "I only wanted to tell you the truth. You must decide for yourself what you want from this world, what you want from your life. But know this, there is more to life than this world of rules and contracts." You meet his gaze, and for a moment, you feel as though you are standing at a precipice, looking into a future that could be entirely different from the one you have been preparing for. You do not know what that future looks like, but for the first time in a long time, you are no longer afraid to imagine it. You begin, your voice trembling, unsure of the words. "I don't know what to say." "Mr. Whitmore gives you a kind smile, one that is both understanding and patient. You need not say anything now, but know that the choice is yours, Miss Harrison. And if ever you wish to talk again, if ever you wish to seek a life beyond the rules, I will be here. And with that, he stands, offering you a gentle bow before turning to leave. You remain seated on the bench, your heart pounding in your chest, your thoughts racing. What has just happened? What does it mean? You are left alone in the quiet of the garden, the evening air cool against your skin. The words, Mr. Whitmore has spoken, hang in the air like a fragile thread, one that you are unsure whether to grasp or to let go. You have always known what was expected of you, but now, for the first time, you wonder if there is another way, one that might lead to freedom, to love, to a future that is not dictated by the rules of society. But that path is unknown. It is uncertain. And with it comes risks, risks that could change your life forever. The days following Mr. Whitmore's visit blur together in a haze of contemplation, uncertainty, and confusion. His words echo in your mind, a constant reminder of the path you never thought to question. Every conversation you have since that moment seems to carry a weight you did not notice before. You can no longer ignore the pull between the life that has been laid out for you, the one of duty, of securing a marriage, of maintaining your place in society, and the unknown future Mr. Whitmore has hinted at, one where choice, freedom, and perhaps even love might be possible. Your life is already set into motion, the expectations of your family and society pressing down upon you like the suffocating layers of your gown. You have always known your role in this world. As a woman in Victorian England, your future hinges on your ability to secure a respectable marriage, to uphold your family's honor, to be the ideal wife, obedient, graceful, modest, and, above all, subservient to the will of your husband. Your family's future depends on the alliances you make. You are a prize to be won, a key to wealth and status. Your personal desires and dreams irrelevant in the face of this societal machinery. And yet, now that Mr. Whitmore has opened this door, the door to another world, one that is not bound by the rules of society, you cannot shake the feeling that there is something more for you beyond this suffocating existence. The words he spoke in the garden that evening haunt you. There is more to life than this world of rules and contracts. You want to believe him. You want to believe that you can have something real, something more than a marriage of convenience. But every time you allow yourself to imagine such a future, the weight of your duty pulls you back to the present, reminding you of the price you would pay for stepping out of line. Your mother, ever vigilant, continues to press you toward the matches she deems suitable, reminding you of your duty at every turn. You attend the remaining events of the season, the final few gatherings where suitors will make their intentions known. It is no longer a question of whether you will marry, but who. The offers of marriage have begun to trickle in, each one more carefully measured than the last. They are all men of good standing, of respectable families, their wealth and status undeniable. Yet none of them stir anything in you. The idea of marriage to any of these men feels more like an obligation than a choice. You find yourself drifting through these gatherings, your smile polite but forced, your words carefully chosen but hollow. You meet the eyes of potential suitors, but each glance only reminds you of the life that awaits you, a life defined not by your own desires, but by the desires of others. The weight of your role as a woman in this society feels like a chain, one that binds you tighter with each passing day. It is at one of these events, a formal dinner hosted by an old family friend, that you encounter Mr. Whitmore once again. You had hoped that his visit to the garden would be the last, that the fleeting moments of connection between you could be forgotten. But when you see him across the room, talking with a group of men, you feel the familiar stirrings of something you cannot explain. There is an air of quiet confidence around him, the same quiet strength that you saw in him during your conversations. And despite your best efforts to ignore it, you are drawn to him again, like a moth to a flame. You try to focus on the conversation at hand, on the polite exchanges with the other guests, but your mind keeps returning to him. You glance toward the corner of the room where he stands, laughing at something one of the men has said. His smile, his easy manner, the way he fits so naturally into this world that you feel so detached from it, stirs something deep within you. It's as if he belongs here, in this world, but at the same time, he is different. He sees something beyond the social rules, beyond the rigid expectations, and for some inexplicable reason, he sees it in you as well. You find yourself excusing yourself from the group you are with, your heart racing as you make your way toward him. The world around you fades into a blur, and for a moment, all you can see is him, standing there, waiting for you. You pause for a moment, feeling the weight of the decision you are about to make. This is the moment where you choose to either continue down the path laid out for you or step into the unknown, where nothing is certain, but everything feels possible. Miss Harrison, Mr. Whitmore says as you approach, his eyes lighting up with a warmth that makes your heart skip a beat. I was wondering if I might have the honor of a dance. His voice is warm, inviting, and for a brief moment, you feel something shift within you, a crack in the wall that you have so carefully built around your heart. You nod, unable to find the words, and allow him to lead you onto the dance floor. The music swells around you, but it feels distant, like a distant echo in your mind. All you can focus on is him, his presence beside you, the feel of his hand gently resting on your waist, the warmth of his touch. For the first time in a long while, you forget about the eyes on you, the expectations, the weight of the world pressing down on you. It is just the two of you moving together in time with the music, lost in the dance. There is something effortless about it, something that feels natural, as if you were meant to be here, in this moment, with him. You look stunning tonight, Miss Harrison, Mr. Whitmore says softly, his voice low, as if he is speaking only to you. Thank you, you reply, your voice barely above a whisper. Your pulse quickens, and you feel a flicker of something, a spark that you cannot quite define. I must confess, he continues, his tone growing more serious. I've been thinking about our conversations, about everything we've discussed. I can't help but feel that there is something between us, something that goes beyond just courtship or the season. His words stop you in your tracks, and for a moment, you are caught in the intensity of his gaze. You have spent so much of your life denying your own desires, suppressing your feelings, pretending that all you wanted was a good match. But in this moment, with him, you feel the pull of something more, something real, something that frightens you. I don't know what to say, you say, your voice trembling slightly. He smiles, a knowing smile that feels both comforting and unsettling. You don't need to say anything, Miss Harrison. I simply wanted you to know that there is more to life than what we've been told, more than the roles we've been assigned. I've watched you, and I see the strength in you. I see the desire for something more than this world of rules, of expectations. And I want you to know that whatever you choose, I will respect it. But I will always be here if you ever want more. His words hang in the air, and your heart pounds in your chest. The music continues to play, the other dancers moving around you, but you feel frozen in place, caught between two worlds, the world of duty, of expectations, of the life you have always known and the world he offers, a world where you are free to choose, to be yourself, to love. You look up at him, your breath caught in your throat. And what if I want something more? The words come out before you can stop them, and the vulnerability in your voice surprises you. Mr. Whitmore's expression softens, and he gently leads you to the edge of the dance floor, away from the crowd. Then you must make a choice, Miss Harrison. A choice that will not be easy. This world, this life, will not make it easy for you. But if you want to be free, truly free, you must choose it for yourself. His words echo in your mind, and for the first time in your life, you feel the weight of the decision you must make. The life you have been preparing for, the life of a dutiful daughter, a dutiful wife, is waiting for you. But it is a life of restrictions, a life where your desires are secondary to the expectations of others. And then there is the other world, the one Mr. Whitmore offers, a world of freedom, of choice, of the possibility of love. But can you truly walk away from the life you've known? Can you step into the unknown, knowing the risks it carries? The consequences of defying society's expectations are severe. Your reputation, your family's future, all of it could be lost. And yet, the longing for something more, something real, threatens to overwhelm you. As you stand there, alone with him, the choice before you seems impossible. But you know, deep down, that you cannot go on living a life defined by others. You cannot continue pretending that this is all there is. There must be more. The question is, can you find the courage to take the first step? The night after Mr. Whitmore's visit is long, stretching before you like a tunnel without an end. You lie awake in your bed, staring up at the ceiling, the weight of his words pressing down on your chest, suffocating you. His offer, the promise of something beyond duty, beyond obligation, lingers in the air like a scent you cannot shake. It is intoxicating, both beautiful and terrifying. For the first time in your life, you are confronted with a choice that is entirely yours to make. But the decision is not simple. There are no guarantees in the world Mr. Whitmore offers. No promises, just uncertainty, and the weight of consequences that could alter the course of your entire life. The silence of the night is deafening, filled with the hum of your own thoughts. You think of your mother, of the life she has painstakingly mapped out for you, of the future she expects you to embrace. You think of your father, of the financial arrangements already in place, the contracts that have been signed, the unspoken expectations that have been laid upon your shoulders since birth. This is the world you know, the world you were raised to understand, a world where your worth is tied to your family's status, your marriage, and your ability to conform to the rules that govern every part of your existence. And then there is Mr. Whitmore, his words, his gaze, the quiet strength he offers. It feels like a different world altogether, a world where you might be more than just a piece in a larger game. It is a world where you are seen not just as an object, but as a person, someone with desires, thoughts, dreams. For the first time, you feel as though you might have the power to choose your own fate. But can you? Can you truly step away from everything you've known, everything your family has worked for, to follow a path that is uncertain, fraught with risk? Your mind races, the thoughts spinning faster than you can catch them. What would happen if you refused the life your parents have chosen for you? What if you defied them, defied society, and sought out your own happiness? You wonder if you could truly break free, or if the weight of the expectations would crush you before you ever had the chance to take that first step. By morning, the decision has not become clearer. If anything, it has only grown more complicated. The soft light of dawn filters through the curtains, casting a warm glow across the room. But even the beauty of the morning cannot soothe the turmoil inside you. You rise from your bed, moving through the familiar motions of your day, the dressing, the primping, the delicate rituals that have come to define your existence. And yet, as you prepare for another round of social engagements, there is a quiet rebellion stirring within you, one that you cannot fully comprehend, but that refuses to be silenced. Your mother's voice, soft but firm, calls from the doorway. "Come, dear, we mustn't keep Lord Pembroke waiting. It would be so dreadfully rude." You pause in front of the mirror, smoothing down your dress, and take a long breath. It feels like you're suffocating in your own skin, like you're watching yourself move through life as though you're someone else, playing a role you were never meant to play. The reflection in the mirror feels foreign, like an actress trying to portray a character she doesn't understand. But it is the reflection everyone expects to see: the perfect daughter, the perfect future wife. You are a symbol, not a person. "Yes, mother," you reply quietly, forcing a smile, your voice distant even to your own ears. Lord Pembroke is an older man, one of your mother's favored suitors, whose wealth and connections make him a highly desirable match. He has shown interest in you for some time, and although his attentions have never been particularly enthusiastic, your mother believes that his proposal is the safest choice. It is a marriage that would secure your family's future, one that would provide you with the security and status that you've been raised to crave. But as you stand in front of the mirror, adjusting the ribbon at your waist, the thought of spending a lifetime with him fills you with dread. He is kind enough, but there is no spark, no excitement, no promise of anything beyond the dull, comfortable life of a woman whose only purpose is to serve her husband's needs and social ambitions. Still, you do your duty. You follow your mother's lead, and as you enter the drawing room to meet Lord Pembroke, you put on the smile that is expected of you. The conversation is predictable, polite, and devoid of meaning. Lord Pembroke talks of his estates, of the weather, of the newest developments in London society. You listen, nodding at the appropriate moments, but inside, you feel a sense of emptiness wash over you. This is not your life. This is not the future you imagined. The future that, in the quiet moments before Mr. Whitmore's visit, you had convinced yourself you were resigned to. As the evening draws to a close, Lord Pembroke leaves with a promise to call upon you again soon. Your mother beams at you, clearly pleased by the outcome of the evening. "You've done well, my dear," she says, as you help her into her coat. Lord Pembroke is a man of great standing, and his proposal will be most advantageous for the family. I do hope you are beginning to see the wisdom of this match. But as her words fall into the air, you find that you can't bring yourself to agree. A match based on financial gain, based on duty, can this be what you want from life? Can you live a life defined by someone else's plans, by someone else's expectations? The question lingers, unanswered, as you force a smile and nod, but inside, you know that this path is no longer the one you are willing to follow. The seed of rebellion has been planted, and the more you try to ignore it, the louder it grows. In the following days, your thoughts return to Mr. Whitmore. You can feel his presence lingering in your mind, a constant reminder of the choice before you. His offer has not faded, and each time you see him at another gathering, it becomes harder to pretend that you are unaffected. His gaze, so direct and unwavering, catches you off guard, as if he sees through the facade you wear and into the heart of the person you long to be. A person who is free, a person who chooses. It is the final evening of the season, and as you prepare for another round of polite conversations and calculated glances, you realize that you can no longer pretend. The weight of your duty presses down on you like a stone, and yet you know that it is time to make a choice. The ball is held at one of the grand estates just outside the city. The grandeur of the house, a symbol of everything your parents have worked for. The glittering chandeliers, the perfectly arranged flowers, the carefully curated guest list, all of it is designed to impress, to secure your family's place among the elite. You are expected to shine tonight, to be the perfect young lady, to fulfill the role that has been assigned to you since the moment you were born. But as you stand at the top of the staircase, looking down at the sea of faces below, you realize that you no longer care about the role. You no longer care about pleasing others. You care only about what you want, about the life you choose for yourself. You find him again, Mr. Whitmore, standing by the edge of the ballroom. The moment your eyes meet, a silent understanding passes between you. He knows. He knows that you are at a crossroads, that the decision is no longer one of comfort or duty, but one of courage. You make your way toward him, each step feeling heavier than the last, as if the weight of the decision bears down on your every movement. But this time, you are not afraid. This time, you are determined. Mr. Whitmore, you say softly when you reach him, your voice steady despite the whirlwind inside you. I think I am ready to make a decision. He looks at you, his expression serious but kind, as if he has been waiting for this moment. Are you sure? He asks gently. You nod, your heart pounding in your chest. Yes, I am ready to choose my own future. Whatever comes of it, I will choose it for myself. For the first time in what feels like a lifetime, you take a deep breath and step into the unknown. The ball continues around you, the guests moving through the evening with the same practiced elegance, the same polite smiles, but for the first time, you feel as though you are truly alive. You are free, and whatever happens next, you know that you have made the right choice. The days following the ball are a blur, filled with an anticipation that both excites and terrifies you. Mr. Whitmore's gaze, the way his eyes locked with yours across the ballroom floor, has stayed with you like a secret, a fragile promise of something more. The decision you made that night, standing beside him, is not one that can be easily undone, but it feels right. Finally, you have chosen for yourself, not for your family, not for society, but for you. The future, though uncertain and fraught with challenges, holds the possibility of something you have always yearned for. Freedom, choice, the chance to live authentically. But as the days stretch into weeks, the reality of that decision begins to settle on your shoulders like a heavy cloak. The weight of it is not only felt in your private moments of reflection, but in the very fabric of your daily life. You still live within the boundaries of a society that expects certain behaviors, and though your choice has freed you from some of the constraints, it has also pulled you further away from the world you once knew. You continue to attend social events, dinners, small gatherings, and afternoon teas, though they no longer feel like your world. The polite conversations, the calculated smiles, the dissection of every word, every gesture to gauge your worth as a potential wife, they all seem so hollow now, so meaningless in light of the choice you have made. Every suitor who approaches you feels like a reminder of the life you are leaving behind. Every glance from your mother is tinged with a mixture of concern and reproach. She can see it in your eyes, the way you no longer play the part with the same enthusiasm. You have broken free, if only a little, but the chains of expectation are never far from your mind. It is in these moments of quiet reflection, when you are alone in your room, that the enormity of your decision truly settles in. You no longer belong to society's plan. You have rejected the safety, the comfort, the certainty of a marriage that would secure your family's future. And in doing so, You have chosen something far more uncertain. You cannot go back now. You cannot unmake this choice. But you are not alone in this. Mr. Whitmore has kept his promise. He has kept his distance, allowing you the space to come to terms with your decision, to find the courage to fully embrace the path you have chosen. His visits have been rare, but his presence, when it does come, has been a quiet reassurance. He does not press you for a quick decision, but rather, he simply waits, understanding the complexity of what you are facing. And yet, as much as you have resolved to choose your own future, there are moments when doubt creeps in, moments when you wonder if the cost of this freedom will be too high. One such moment comes when you receive a letter from your father, a simple, direct note delivered by your maid. You open it with a sense of unease, knowing that letters like this are never casual, never without purpose. My dear daughter, I hope this finds you well. I would appreciate it if you would join me in the study tomorrow at your earliest convenience. We must discuss certain matters regarding your future. Your mother and I have discussed your situation at length, and it is time we come to a clear understanding. I look forward to speaking with you. Yours truly, Father. The words, so matter-of-fact, send a ripple of anxiety through you. It is not like your father to discuss such matters in writing, and you know that when he does, it is usually because the situation has reached a point where further inaction is no longer possible. You have already spent years trying to navigate his expectations, trying to balance his desires with your own growing understanding of what you want from life. But now, as you read the letter again, you realize that you cannot hide from this conversation. You must face your family, face the reality of the choice you have made, and confront the consequences head on. The next day, you walk through the grand halls of your family estate with a heavy heart, each step feeling more like a march to your own execution. The study is quiet when you enter, the only sound the soft crackling of the fire in the hearth. Your father stands by the window, his back to you, as if contemplating something far beyond the walls of your home. He turns when he hears your footsteps, his expression neutral, but his eyes, those piercing, calculating eyes, betray the gravity of what is about to transpire. Sit down, my dear, he says, his voice steady, though you can hear the undertone of authority that has always defined your relationship with him. You sit, your heart pounding in your chest. For a moment, neither of you speaks. The silence between you is thick with unspoken expectations, as though the very air around you is charged with the weight of this conversation. Finally, your father clears his throat and begins. I've been speaking with your mother about your future, he says, his gaze unwavering. We've had concerns, as you well know. Concerns about your lack of enthusiasm for the matches we've discussed, about your growing indifference to the arrangements that have been put in place for your security. Lex, you feel the blood drain from your face. This is it, the confrontation you've been dreading. Father, you say, your voice trembling despite your efforts to keep it steady. I understand your concerns, but I've already made my decision. I cannot simply follow the path you have laid out for me. I cannot marry for convenience, for status, for duty. I want more than that. Your father's expression hardens, and he steps toward you, his posture straight and commanding. Do not mistake your youth for wisdom, my daughter. You think you know what you want, but the truth is, you are not yet ready to understand the consequences of the choice you are making. The world you are attempting to enter is one of chaos and uncertainty. You are a woman, and that means your choices will always be defined by the decisions of men. Your future is not just your own. It is the inheritance of your family, of your mother, of the name you bear. And when you disregard these responsibilities, you disregard all that has been built for you. His words feel like daggers. each one piercing deeper than the last. You want to shout, to tell him that you are not just an object to be married off, that your life is your own, that you have a right to make your own choices. But the words are lodged in your throat, and all that comes out is a quiet, "I am not a pawn, Father." 8. Your father stands still for a moment, as though considering his next move. Then his face softens only slightly, but enough for you to see the faint traces of regret in his eyes. "I never wanted to make you feel that way, my dear," he says, his voice less certain than before. "But you must understand, the world we live in does not allow for such luxuries. A woman's place is beside her husband, supporting him, ensuring his success. And your happiness will come from fulfilling that role. No other path will lead you to true fulfillment." You swallow hard, struggling to keep your composure. The weight of his words presses down on you, but something inside you begins to shift. For so long, you have been trapped in the idea that your happiness is secondary to your family's needs, that your desires must always be suppressed in favor of what is expected of you. But now, in this moment, you know that you can no longer live that way. "I can't," you say, your voice barely above a whisper. "I can't live a life defined by someone else's expectations. I need to find my own way. I need to choose." Your father is silent for a long time, and when he speaks again, it is with a weight you did not expect. "I cannot condone your decision, but I will not force you into a marriage you do not want," he says, his tone softening slightly. "But know this, when you choose a path of defiance, you choose a path of isolation. The world will not forgive you, and neither will your family." The finality in his words hits you like a wave, and for a moment you feel as though you are drowning in them. But amidst the despair, something else stirs within you, a flicker of resolve. You have made your choice, and you cannot turn back now. "I understand, Father," you say, standing up, "but I must follow my heart. I cannot live for others anymore." And with that, you leave the study, your heart heavy with the knowledge of what you are giving up, but also light with the knowledge that you have taken the first step toward freedom. The days after your conversation with Mr. Whitmore are filled with a curious mix of anticipation and fear. You feel as though you've stepped out of the shadow of a life that was never truly yours, into a world that offers no guarantees, but that, for the first time, feels like a canvas upon which you can paint your own future. But the weight of that freedom, so exhilarating at first, also begins to settle in your chest like a heavy burden. The path you have chosen is not an easy one, and you know that the consequences of your decisions will ripple through your life in ways you cannot yet imagine. You are no longer the young woman who dances in the ballrooms, waiting for a suitor to claim her future decided by the expectations of others. You are something new, something different. A woman who has chosen her own destiny, who has taken a stand, however uncertain it may be. But this decision, as liberating as it may feel, comes with its own set of challenges. Your family's disapproval looms over you like a dark cloud, their expectations pulling at you, their disappointment a constant reminder of what you have given up. Your mother, who once guided every decision with a loving but firm hand, now treats you with a distance that cuts deeper than any harsh words could. She still speaks to you, but her words are laced with a sorrow that you cannot ignore. It's as if she's grieving not just the future she had planned for you, but the daughter she once had, the one who fit neatly into the world she had so carefully crafted. The love she once gave so freely is now measured, calculated, as though she fears you will slip away entirely if she shows too much emotion. Your father's silence is even more deafening. He has retreated into the isolation of his study, And when he does speak to you, it is with a curt formality that leaves no room for personal connection. You understand that he believes he is protecting you, that his harshness comes from a place of love and concern, but it feels like a prison. The more he distances himself, the more you long for his approval, even though you know, deep down, that you can never return to the life he wants for you. Despite this tension, Mr. Whitmore's presence in your life is a steady anchor. He is not the reckless, impetuous man you once feared him to be. He is steady, thoughtful, and patient, giving you the space you need to find your way without pushing you too hard. In the days that follow, he continues to make his intentions clear, though he never rushes you, never pressures you. His approach is gentle, as though he understands the storm that rages inside you, and he knows that it will take time for you to fully trust in the future he promises. He does not come to you with grand gestures or promises of a quick, easy solution to the tumult in your life. Instead, he offers something far more valuable: consistency. In a world full of expectations and judgments, his quiet confidence becomes a reassurance that the path you've chosen, though difficult, is one worth walking. You begin to see, in small, quiet moments, that he is not just a companion, but someone who truly understands the weight of the decisions you have made. But though Mr. Whitmore is a steady presence, the world around you continues to pull you back into its web of expectations. Your family's disapproval remains a constant presence in your life, and you find yourself once again attending the social events that you once thought were behind you. It is not that you want to return to that world, but the pressure is immense. You cannot simply disappear from society's radar, not without consequence. So, you find yourself attending a dinner at the home of one of your father's business associates, an event where the future of the family's financial standing is discussed, and where your presence is expected. The evening feels foreign to you, as though you have stepped into a different life, one that no longer fits you. The conversation is polite, but mechanical. The men talk of investments and trade, while the women discuss fashion, home decor, and the latest gossip from London. You sit at the table, your back straight, your hands folded. The perfect picture of a young lady, except that inside, you are anything but perfect. Your mind races with thoughts of the future you've chosen, of Mr. Whitmore, of the life that awaits you beyond these walls. Yet the weight of your family's expectations hangs over you like a shadow, pulling you back to a world you are no longer sure you want to be part of. As the evening wears on, you find yourself seated beside Lord Pembroke, the man your mother once hoped you would marry. He is older now, his face lined with the years of experience and success. But still, he carries himself with a certain pomp and pride. He talks to you with the same practiced charm, his voice smooth and flattering. But there is an emptiness in his words, a hollowness that you can no longer ignore. "You've grown into a fine young woman, Miss Harrison," he says, his eyes scanning you with the kind of assessment that feels more like ownership than admiration. "I trust your father is still considering our offer. A union between our families would be most advantageous, wouldn't you agree?" The words, though polite, hit you like a slap. You nod politely, but inside, something stirs a sharp realization of the cage you've been in all these years. This, too, is a part of the world you are leaving behind. The weight of duty, the expectation of a match that serves the needs of others rather than your own. "I'm afraid my heart is not in such arrangements, Lord Pembroke," you say quietly, your voice betraying none of the emotion that swirls inside you. "I do not believe that marriage should be merely a transaction." He looks at you with a raised brow, his smile faltering for the briefest moment before he recovers his composure. Of course," he says, his voice laced with a hint of condescension. A woman's heart is important, I suppose. But practicality, Miss Harrison, practicality cannot be ignored. The world we live in is not one that allows for such indulgences. The words sting, but you hold your ground. You no longer belong to the world of practical marriage, of social advancement through strategic unions. You have seen too much of the emptiness beneath the surface of these arrangements to return to them. But as you look around the room, at the faces of those who still believe in this world, you cannot help but feel a flicker of doubt. What if they are right? What if you are choosing a life of uncertainty and hardship for the sake of something as fleeting as love? It is then that you feel a hand on your shoulder, a gentle touch that anchors you in the moment. You turn to see Mr. Whitmore standing beside you, his presence like a balm to your weary soul. His eyes meet yours, and in that gaze you see everything you need to know. He is here, beside you, offering you the only thing that truly matters, the chance to live your life on your own terms. I hope I'm not interrupting, he says softly, his voice a quiet comfort in the midst of the clamor around you. Lord Pembroke gives a slight bow, his face carefully neutral, before excusing himself from the conversation. As he walks away, you realize how much easier it is to breathe when he is gone. The suffocating weight of societal expectation seems to lift, if only for a moment. Mr. Whitmore turns to you, a small smile playing at the corner of his lips. You seem lost in thought, he says, his voice low yet full of warmth. Are you all right? You nod, though your mind is still a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. It's just difficult sometimes, you admit, your voice barely above a whisper. This life, this world, it's not the one I want, but it's the one I've always known. The expectations, the pressures, it's hard to step away from it all. He looks at you, his expression softening, and for a moment, the rest of the world fades away. You don't have to step away alone, he says gently. I'm here. You don't have to carry this weight by yourself. His words, simple yet profound, bring a sense of peace to the chaos inside you. For the first time since making your choice, you feel as though you are not alone in this. The future is still uncertain, and the challenges you face will not be easily overcome. But with him by your side, you feel as though you can face whatever comes. As the evening winds down, you realize that the choice you've made is not a simple one, and it will not be easy to follow through. But with each passing day, you are one step closer to the life you desire. You are no longer the young woman trapped in a world of expectations. You are someone with a future of your own making. And though the road ahead may be long and uncertain, you are ready to walk it, side by side with the man who sees you not just as a woman to be married, but as a person worthy of her own dreams. The weeks that follow your decision are both a dream and a nightmare. The freedom you've fought for, the autonomy you've gained by choosing a life not bound by your family's plans, feels simultaneously exhilarating and terrifying. Each day brings its own challenge, its own question, and yet, with every passing moment, you feel something solidifying inside you, something stronger than fear. You know the path ahead will not be easy, but at least it will be yours. It's a terrifying kind of liberation. Mr. Whitmore continues to be your steady anchor, and in the quiet moments when the noise of the world fades away, you realize how much his support means to you. It is not simply that he agrees with your decision, nor that he offers solutions to your problems, but that he stands beside you without judgment. You've come to understand that love, true love, is not about possession or conformity, but about respect and freedom to be your truest self. And in him, you find a reflection of that freedom. But that freedom comes at a cost, and the pressure from your family to return to the fold only intensifies. Your father, though still silent, has made his feelings known in subtle ways. He continues to expect your presence at family gatherings, to oversee matters that concern the estate, and to express his disapproval with every cold glance. But it is your mother's behavior that is the most painful to bear. She is withdrawn into herself, no longer the woman who guided you with gentle hands, but someone who is both distant and protective, like a fortress that has been shuttered. At times, you wonder if you've made the right choice. If the family you've rejected is more than just a series of constraints, it's a deep-seated part of you, woven into the very fabric of your identity. The love you've received, even if sometimes cold or conditional, is something you've known your entire life. It has shaped you, kept you safe, provided you with comfort in the face of uncertainty. But now, you find yourself standing on the outside of that world, looking in, and it feels alien. One afternoon, your mother asks to see you in the drawing room, her voice strained but controlled. The invitation, though polite, sends a ripple of anxiety through you. You have not spoken at length since your confrontation with your father, and the space between you and your mother feels vast, unbridgeable. As you enter the room, you find her sitting by the fire, her hands folded in her lap, her gaze distant. The portrait of the woman you once knew, the one who guided your every step, is slipping away. In her place is someone else, someone who does not know how to deal with the daughter who has stepped outside the boundaries she worked so hard to set. "Sit, dear," she says softly, but there's an edge to her voice that makes you pause before obeying. You sit across from her, waiting for her to speak. The silence between you is thick with unspoken words, years of expectations, years of both love and control. Your mother takes a deep breath, her eyes never quite meeting yours, as if she is bracing herself for something difficult. "I know you have made your choice," she begins, her voice tight. "And I know you believe this is what is best for you. But I want you to understand the consequences of your actions, my dear. You may not see them now, but I fear that you will regret this decision in time." Her words sting, cutting through the fragile peace you've worked so hard to maintain. The weight of her disappointment hangs heavy in the air, and for a moment you feel that familiar pang of guilt, a guilt that you have done something wrong, something that cannot be undone. You want to scream at her that this is your life, that you have a right to live it as you see fit, but something inside you holds you back. There is a deep ache in your heart, a sorrow that comes from knowing you've hurt her, even as you try to break free of the constraints she has placed on you. "I know what you think of me, Mother," you say softly, your voice barely above a whisper. "I know that you're disappointed, but I am not asking you to understand. I am not asking you to agree. I am asking you to accept that this is my life now, and that I am doing what I believe is best for me." And she looks at you then, really looks at you, and for the first time in weeks, you see something flicker in her eyes. It's not the coldness you've been feeling, nor the anger you expected. Instead, it's something deeper, something that resembles pain, or perhaps fear. Fear that you will be lost to her forever. "You were always so full of promise, so full of light," she says quietly. "I thought you would marry well, take your place in society, and be content. But now I wonder if I have failed you. Have I taught you nothing?" Her words hit you harder than anything your father has said. The sense of loss, of betrayal, cuts through you, and you realize, with a deep sense of sadness, that no matter what you do, you will never fully be able to make her understand. This world she's created for you, one of rules, of expectations, is her world, not yours. And yet, you can't help but mourn the loss of the woman who raised you, the woman you once knew, who was your guiding light through the world. I will always love you, mother, you say, your voice trembling. But I cannot live for you. I cannot live for anyone but myself. The room falls silent again, the tension between you palpable. But there is no anger in her gaze now, only the quiet resignation of someone who knows they have lost something precious. She stands up, slowly, and walks toward the window, looking out over the garden. The soft light of the afternoon bathes the room in a golden hue, but it does nothing to soften the heavy air between you. I will always be here for you if you need me, she says, her voice soft, distant. But I fear you are walking a lonely road, my dear, and it will not be easy. I know, you reply quietly, your heart heavy with the weight of her words. But it is the only road I can walk. She does not answer, but her silence is a concession, a silent understanding that perhaps you are no longer the daughter she once knew. You stand and leave the room, your mind swirling with the pain of what you have just lost. Days turn into weeks, and the distance between you and your family only grows. The loneliness that comes with this separation is something you had not anticipated. You are no longer the child under your mother's watchful eye, nor the obedient daughter who lived her life according to the rules of society. You are now something else. A woman in control of her own destiny, but one who must navigate the complexities of that control. The absence of your family's support is a shadow that looms over you, a reminder of the price of your choices. Despite the deep personal cost, your resolve to stay true to yourself hardens. You can no longer allow yourself to be held captive by a life you never chose. You find moments of solace in Mr. Whitmore's company. His presence has become something you rely on, not as a crutch, but as a reminder that you are not entirely alone. He understands the weight of the world you are trying to cast off, and though he does not offer easy answers, he offers something far more valuable. A partner who does not demand your compliance, but who offers his respect and care in return for yours. In time, you begin to see the true meaning of what Mr. Whitmore has been offering. He has never asked for your loyalty for the sake of possession. He simply desires to walk beside you, to build something together. He asks for nothing more than your trust. In him, you begin to realize that what you seek is not just freedom, but a partnership. A partnership where both of you can be free, where both of you can be your truest selves without fear of judgment. The future, though uncertain, seems less daunting now. You may still face the wrath of your family, the rejection of a society that judges you for stepping out of line, but you know that you can face it. You have chosen a life of your own making, one that, though difficult, holds the promise of something greater than what you have known before. And for the first time, as you look out the window of your home, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of pink and gold, you realize that the road ahead is not defined by others. It is your road, and though it may be lonely at times, you know that you will walk it with your head held high, no longer bound by the chains of duty or expectation, but free to live the life you have always dreamed of. Weeks turned into months, and the reality of your decisions began to settle in like the soft thrum of a distant storm. You had made the choice to live your life differently, to embrace your freedom, and step out from the shadows of familial expectations. But freedom, you have come to realize, is not as simple as it first appeared. It is not the grand, sweeping gesture that you once thought it would be. It is a slow, unyielding force that wears down the edges of your former life, leaving behind a landscape that is both beautiful and barren. You had expected a sense of liberation to take root, to fill the emptiness of your former life with clarity and purpose. Instead, it was a constant battle between your old self and the woman you were becoming. The tension between the expectations of your family and the choices you have made only grows sharper with each passing day. And while Mr. Whitmore remains your steady companion, the weight of the distance from your family is like a stone in your chest. The pressure begins to build again as your father makes his stance clearer. His silence, which had been deafening at first, has turned into something more pronounced. His interactions with you, though polite, are increasingly strained. His attempts to push you back into the life he had planned, one where you are a dutiful daughter, a proper lady who marries well, are veiled in comments about responsibility, about your place in the family, about the way the world works. His voice reverberates in your mind, a reminder of the world you have chosen to leave behind. You cannot be so foolish as to think you can escape it all. There is a place for you in society, a place you must fill, a role you must play. You cannot turn your back on all of it, not without consequences. The consequences you were told of, the ones you feared, have arrived. The loneliness that has been creeping in, like a shadow, begins to feel suffocating. It is not the absence of Miss Whitmore that weighs on you, it is the absence of everything else. The network of support that had once been your security, your shield, is gone, and you are standing alone. Your mother's silence is harder to bear than anything your father has said. Her disappointment, though unspoken, hangs in the air like a heavy fog. She still invites you to family gatherings, still smiles at you in public, but there is no warmth in it. The connection that once flowed freely between you has begun to wither, replaced by an unspoken barrier, one built on the walls of regret and defiance. And yet, despite it all, there is something within you that refuses to give up the fight. There is something inside you that continues to burn with the desire to live authentically, to build a future that is shaped by your own hands, no matter the cost. Mr. Whitmore, though a steady presence, cannot fill the void left by the absence of family. He supports your choices, but in moments of quiet reflection, you wonder if he truly understands the full weight of what you have sacrificed. He, too, is not without his own burdens. The two of you spend your days in a delicate dance, one of unspoken understanding and gentle respect. Mr. Whitmore has never asked you to make a choice between him and your family, but as the months pass, you begin to sense a growing unease in him. There is a distance between you now, one that neither of you dares to address directly. You wonder if, in his heart, he fears that you will always belong to the world you have tried so hard to escape. You wonder if he has doubts about your resolve, about the future you promised each other. One evening, as you sit together in the quiet of his drawing room, the subject arises without warning. You had been talking of something light, a piece of art you had seen recently, but suddenly his gaze shifts, becoming more focused, more intense. "You've changed, you know," he says quietly, the words hanging between you like a thread waiting to snap. The statement is not harsh, but it carries weight. You look up at him, your eyes searching for the meaning behind the words. He does not say anything else at first, allowing the silence to fill the space between you. "I can see it in your eyes," he continues, his voice steady but tinged with something softer, something vulnerable. "There's a weight there, a heaviness that wasn't there before. And I wonder, do you still believe in the life we talked about? Do you still believe in the future we planned? Or have you started to doubt it?" You feel your heart skip in your chest, the question landing like a stone in your stomach. You hadn't realized it, but somewhere along the way, you had begun to doubt. Doubt whether you were strong enough to break away from everything you had known. Doubt whether this new life, this new future, was really the one you wanted. The weight of your choices, the ones you thought you could bear, suddenly seems too much to carry. You feel exposed in a way you hadn't anticipated. It's as though he sees through you, sees the cracks that you've carefully hidden. I don't know anymore. You admit, your voice barely a whisper. I don't know if I can keep walking this path. I thought I was ready, but every day it gets harder. I miss them, Mr. Whitmore. I miss my family. I miss the life I had, even though I hated it. I can't stop feeling like I'm losing everything. His expression softens, his gaze filled with understanding. But there is something else in it too, something that resembles a quiet sadness. He takes a step closer, his presence a comforting weight beside you. You're not losing everything, he says gently, placing a hand on your shoulder. But sometimes you must let go of what no longer serves you in order to make space for what's to come. But even as he speaks these words, you know they are not enough to soothe the ache inside you. You cannot shake the feeling that, despite the freedom you have fought for, you have lost something far greater than you realize. The world you've chosen is still unfamiliar, still unformed. And in the quiet of the night, as you lie in bed, you wonder if the cost of this freedom, this independence, is truly worth it. The following days are filled with quiet introspection, and you spend more time than you care to admit walking the paths of your family's estate, lost in thought. The estate, once a place of comfort and security, now feels suffocating, a reminder of everything you've left behind. The lush gardens, the elegant halls, the grand dinners, all of it feels like a distant memory, a dream that no longer fits the life you are trying to build. Mr. Whitmore continues to call upon you, but your conversations become more strained, less frequent. There is a distance between you now, a gulf that neither of you is willing to bridge. His patience, though unwavering, begins to feel like a quiet endurance rather than a partnership. He loves you, yes. But does he truly understand the weight of the choices you've made? Can he truly stand beside you in this struggle? Or is his support simply a quiet acquiescence to a future that he himself never truly questioned? One afternoon, after a particularly tense exchange, he leaves you with one last thought before he departs for a business meeting. If you're not sure about this, about us, then you need to tell me now, he says, his voice calm but firm. I cannot continue to walk alongside you if you are not fully committed to what we have started. I will not be the anchor that holds you back from finding your way. You need to decide, truly decide, if this life, the one we talked about, is the one you want. Because if it isn't, if you are still lost in what you left behind, then you must find the courage to go back, to choose that life wholeheartedly. His words hang in the air long after he leaves, and for the first time in months, you realize that the weight of this choice, this path you've walked, has begun to fracture the very foundation of your future. You have come so far, but are you willing to leave the past behind completely? Are you ready to embrace the uncertain future that lies ahead, with no guarantees, no safety nets? Or do you turn back to the familiar life, the life that will never truly make you happy? The decision is yours to make, but it's no longer as clear as it once seemed. And for the first time, you realize that no matter which path you choose, you may have already lost something precious. The days feel longer now. The sky stretches out endlessly in its unspoken heaviness, mirroring the endless thoughts that swirl in your mind. Every moment is a collision of doubt and determination. The weight of your decisions has started to feel suffocating, and despite Mr. Whitmore's presence, you often feel more alone than ever. The distance between what you desire and what you've left behind seems insurmountable. In your quieter moments, you can still hear the echo of your father's stern words, the disapproving silence of your mother's gaze. You can feel the absence of the life you once knew. It is not simply the comforts of your home that you miss. It is the very structure of the world you grew up in. It was one that, for all its faults, gave you a sense of place, a clear understanding of what was expected of you. You knew where you stood. Now, standing at the edge of your new life, you realize that you no longer know who you are. Are you the woman who defied her family to carve out a new path? Or are you the daughter of your parents, haunted by the expectations they instilled in you? The sharp contrast between these identities leaves you adrift, unsure of which way to turn. In the evenings, after the last candle has burned out, when the house is still and quiet, you lie in bed, staring up at the ceiling. Mr. Whitmore's words echo in your thoughts. Do you still believe in the life we talked about? Do you still believe in the future we planned? You feel the weight of the question pressing on your chest, like an invisible hand gripping your heart. You wish you could answer him clearly, but in truth, you don't know anymore. Every time you think you've made peace with your decision, the past calls you back. The prospect of returning to the safety of your old life, where everything was familiar, where your family's approval could be earned through obedience and duty, is tempting. But as soon as you entertain the thought, you know it's not the right choice. You can't go back. The woman you were before is gone, replaced by someone who has tasted the bitter sweetness of freedom and autonomy. You cannot surrender that for the comfort of a life that was never truly yours. As the weeks pass, you find yourself spending more time away from the house, walking the streets, visiting friends and acquaintances who don't have a stake in your life, who don't carry the weight of your decisions on their shoulders. You seek out these moments of solace, trying to lose yourself in the bustle of the city, where no one knows you, where you can pretend that the choices you've made don't exist. It is during these walks that you begin to understand just how much the world around you has changed. The life you left behind feels increasingly foreign, like a faded memory. The streets, once filled with the familiar sights of people and places you knew so well, now feel empty, distant. You are a stranger to yourself, and the world around you is a place that no longer feels like home. You've stepped into the unknown, and though you have not yet found the life you want, there is no turning back. It is during one of these solitary walks that you run into Margaret, a childhood friend who is still very much a part of the world you left behind. She has always been kind, with a gentle disposition that seems to soften even the harshest realities of life. Her smile when she sees you is warm, but there is a hint of concern in her eyes, the kind of concern that only comes from truly knowing someone. "You've been keeping to yourself lately," she says as the two of you walk along the cobbled streets. Her voice is gentle, but there is an underlying question in her tone. She knows as much as you do that you are struggling, but she doesn't press you to explain. Instead, she simply waits, offering her presence as a balm to the rawness of your emotions. "I've been thinking," you say, the words leaving your lips before you can stop them, "about everything, about the decision I made. And now I wonder if I made the right choice." Margaret looks at you, her expression thoughtful. "I know it's hard, but you've always been so certain of what you want. I think you need to trust that certainty." I don't know anymore," you admit, the words heavy with unspoken fears. "I miss my family. I miss the life I had. But then I remember why I left, and I feel like I can't go back to that, to a life that wasn't mine to choose." She nods, understanding. That's the hardest part, isn't it? The part where you realize that what you thought was freedom was just another kind of prison. But you can't keep going back to what's familiar, not if it means giving up who you are now. And the truth in her words hits you hard. You have always prided yourself on being independent. on being someone who could forge her own path. But the reality of what that entails is far more complicated than you ever imagined. You look at Margaret, a sudden sense of gratitude washing over you. She's right. You can't go back. No matter how much you may long for the comfort of the life you once knew, the woman you are now cannot fit into those confines. I just don't know if I'm strong enough to live this life, you confess, the vulnerability in your voice a stark contrast to the determination you once had. I don't know if I can live without the approval of my family, without the life I was taught to want. You're stronger than you know, Margaret says softly. You've already made it this far. Don't let fear be the thing that keeps you from becoming who you're meant to be. Her words settle into your chest, taking root in your heart. For the first time in weeks, you feel a flicker of hope. Perhaps the future is not as uncertain as you've made it out to be. Perhaps it is just a matter of continuing to move forward, even when the road is unclear. You do not need the approval of your family to be who you are. You have already chosen a path, and while it is fraught with challenges, it is still your path. Margaret walks with you in silence for a while, and when she speaks again, it is with the same quiet certainty that you've always admired in her. Have you spoken to Mr. Whitmore about all of this? She asks gently. The question catches you off guard. No, you admit. Not really. I've been avoiding him. Why? Because I'm not sure where we stand anymore, you confess. I don't know if I can keep asking him to be patient with me, to stand by me when I'm not even sure of myself. End quote. Margaret gives you a knowing look. He cares for you, doesn't he? He doesn't expect you to be perfect, to have all the answers. But he does expect you to be honest with him. If you can't be honest with him about how you're feeling, how do you expect to build a future together? Her words echo in your mind, and you know she is right. You have been so wrapped up in your own turmoil that you have failed to communicate with the one person who has supported you through it all. You realize then that the distance between you and Mr. Whitmore is not just the result of external pressures, but your own fear. Fear of being vulnerable. Fear of letting him see the cracks in your carefully constructed facade. That evening, when Mr. Whitmore arrives at your house for a quiet dinner, you are no longer the woman who is hiding from the truth. You've spent the day in contemplation, and now, as he sits across from you, you decide it's time to speak openly. I've been avoiding you, you confess, your voice quiet but steady. I've been so caught up in my own doubts, in the weight of my choices, that I didn't stop to think about how it affects you. He looks at you with an unreadable expression, his gaze softening as he listens. You don't have to carry this alone, you know, he says quietly. I'm not asking you to be perfect. I'm asking you to be real with me, to share this journey with me. And the relief that washes over you is immediate, as though a heavy burden has been lifted from your chest. You've spent so long afraid to let him in, afraid to show your vulnerability. But now you realize that it is not weakness to seek support, it is strength. You are not meant to walk this path alone. I'm scared, Charles. You admit, the words coming faster now, as though they've been waiting to escape. I'm scared that I've made a mistake, that I can't live this life, that I'm not strong enough to leave everything behind and build something new. I'm scared of losing you. He reaches across the table, taking your hand in his. His touch is warm, steady, and his eyes meet yours with a quiet understanding that calms the storm inside you. You've already built something, he says gently. You've built the courage to be yourself, to choose your own path. That's something many people never have the strength to do. For the first time in a long while, you feel a sense of peace. You may not have all the answers, and the road ahead may still be uncertain. But in this moment, you know that you are not alone. You are not lost. You are simply in the process of finding yourself. And with him by your side, you know that whatever comes next, you can face it. As the months pass, the journey you've embarked upon transforms. What once felt like an agonizing series of impossible decisions begins to take on a different rhythm, a pace that feels both challenging and affirming. The internal struggle, those moments of deep doubt, paralyzing fear, and overwhelming uncertainty begins to fade. Not because they are no longer present, but because you've learned how to live with them. You realize, with each passing day, that they are not signs of failure, but signs of growth. Your discomfort, your struggles, are the very things that make you human, and in embracing them, you find strength. The realization that freedom is not an easy thing to attain, nor is it the grand, sweeping gesture you once imagined, becomes clearer. It is a slow burn, a quiet knowing that the life you have chosen is the only life you can live with honesty. Freedom, you learn, is not found in escape from one world to another. It is not an immediate shedding of the past, or the renunciation of everything you once held dear. Instead, it is the painful process of carving out a new existence from the pieces of what was, accepting that you cannot undo the choices you've made. You cannot simply return to the comfort of an old life, nor would you want to. The woman you were before the obedient daughter, the perfect lady, no longer exists. She has been transformed into someone new. And though you have moments of longing for the safety of the past, you know in your heart that this is who you are now. The past will always remain a part of you, but it will not define you. It cannot. The distance between you and your family, though still painful, begins to feel less like a wound and more like a scar healed, but still present. Your parents' disappointment continues to weigh on you, but the burden is lighter now. You have made peace with the reality that you cannot change their minds. You cannot make them understand. And while this acceptance doesn't erase the pain of their rejection, it allows you to move forward with less guilt, less fear of their judgment. You are no longer seeking their approval in every action, every decision. You are not defined by their love or disapproval. This is perhaps the hardest lesson of all. To realize that you do not need to be loved by them in order to be worthy of love. Your mother's silence has been the heaviest burden to bear, but with time, you begin to see it not as abandonment, but as her own way of grieving the loss of the daughter she thought she would have. It is a painful truth to accept, but it allows you to see her as a human being, not just a mother with expectations. The woman who raised you, who loved you deeply but sometimes constrained you with her vision of who you should be, is still there, but she is also a person in her own right. You can no longer hold her to the pedestal of perfection, nor can you make her the villain in your story. She is complex, just as you are, and in this understanding, you start to forgive her for the weight of her love, which, though well-intentioned, has shaped you in ways that both nurtured and suffocated you. But it is Mr. Whitmore who remains your constant, your anchor in the storm. His unwavering support continues to be the light you cling to when the world feels dark and uncertain. He does not demand that you be perfect, that you have all the answers. He asks for your trust and your honesty. And with each passing day, you realize that this is the greatest gift of all. He doesn't try to fix you, doesn't ask you to become someone else. Instead, he meets you exactly where you are, holding space for your fears and your uncertainties, never once pushing you to move faster than you are ready to. He lets you be yourself, and that, in its quiet way, gives you the freedom you need. And yet, as time passes, you begin to sense that something has shifted in your relationship with him. You've always relied on him to be the steady one, the one who keeps you grounded when your mind threatens to take flight into doubt. But now, you realize, You no longer need him to save you. You no longer need to hide behind him or seek his validation. You are standing on your own 2 feet, a woman fully aware of her own strength and her own capacity for resilience. You understand that the life you are building together is not one of dependence, but of partnership. You are 2 individuals, each with their own dreams and desires, but united by the choice to walk side by side, despite the obstacles that threaten to pull you apart. In a quiet moment, when the weight of the world feels especially heavy, you admit to him what you've known for some time now. I don't need you to fix me anymore, Charles. I'm learning to stand on my own, and I think I finally understand what freedom really means. He listens to you, his gaze soft but knowing. You've always been strong, he says, his voice rich with affection. You just had to realize it for yourself, and I'm proud of you for doing that. This moment, simple yet profound, marks a turning point for you. You no longer see yourself as someone who needs to be saved or fixed. You are not the broken woman you once believed yourself to be, struggling to reconcile the life you want with the life you've been given. You are whole, even in your imperfections. You are learning to embrace all of who you are, without shame or regret. You fought too hard to get here to turn back now. As the seasons change, you find yourself embracing this new life with increasing confidence. You no longer feel like an outsider in your own story. You no longer feel like a visitor in a world that you have no place in. The life you've built with Mr. Whitmore, though still new, begins to feel like a natural extension of who you've always been. You are beginning to craft a future that is not defined by anyone else's expectations, but by your own. But this journey is not without its challenges. There are days when the weight of your decisions feels heavier than ever. There are moments when you wonder if you made the right choice, when the isolation of living a life outside of your family's expectations feels unbearable. And yet, through it all, you have learned that true freedom is not an absence of hardship, but the ability to continue moving forward despite it. You have learned to trust in yourself. You have learned that your worth is not dependent on the approval of others, but on your ability to live with authenticity and courage. And though the future remains unwritten, you now understand that the journey is yours to shape. It will not always be easy, and there will be moments of doubt and fear, but you are no longer afraid to face them. You are no longer afraid to live a life that is truly yours, one that reflects your deepest desires, your truest self. And in that realization, you find peace. The future is no longer something to fear. It is something to embrace. You have already begun the work of building it, step by step, day by day. And with Mr. Whitmore by your side, you know that the life you are creating is worth every moment of struggle, every tear shed, every choice made. For the first time, you can look forward to the unknown with hope, with excitement, and with the quiet certainty that you are exactly where you need to be.